Kamala Harris is a rank opportunist of the highest order who knows she's not stupid. She's a lawyer. She knows Michael Brown wasn't murdered. She knows the Obama Justice Department themselves concluded Michael Brown wasn't murdered. She knows those witness accounts are in fact false. And she said it anyway, because that's what Kamala Harris does. She is a big taxer, big government healthcare. She will cancel your healthcare plan if she gets her way. She says, oh, no, don't worry. We'll only do it over 10 years. Okay, thanks. She's to the left of Bernie Sanders, and she promotes conspiracy theories that are proven false, like Michael Brown was murdered. You know, it's amazing how one of the reasons I do the show, and I've enjoyed doing the show throughout the years, is I wake up in the morning a lot and I look through for stories and I look for things where liberals have managed to get people, liberals in the media and elsewhere and activists have managed to get people to believe things that are patently untrue and defy the evidence. And when I say evidence, I don't mean hard to find information. I mean, like if you did a simple Google search on what liberals were telling you, you'd find out that the opposite is in fact true. But showing you how powerful liberals are. You know, Fred Siegel talks about it in his book, Revolt Against the Masses, how liberals use this triumvirate of congressional committees, academia, and the media to get you to believe things that are factually incorrect and easily refuted. You see them creeping up, these fake narratives all the time. You don't believe me? Look at this article at the Daily Wire. Do you remember Michael Brown, the shooting in Michael Brown with Officer Darren Wilson, where the allegation from the left was that he had his hands up and said, don't shoot, and the officer shot him anyway?
Mm-hmm.
That's false. That's false. Here we go again. The great Jason Whitlock, who's over at Outkick, which is a pretty great sports site, slams Greg Popovich, he's the coach, the NBA coach of the San Antonio Spurs, for citing the hands up, don't shoot narrative. Whitlock said he's intentionally promoting racial animus. What did Popovich say? So Greg Popovich, who is either one of the dumbest human beings on the planet or incapable of reading, is a coach for the San Antonio Spurs. Those are your two. I'm not kidding. Those are your two. He's either really stupid and hasn't done his homework, or he's a manipulative liar. So Popovich said, and he was talking about Michael Brown, the shooting of Michael Brown. And he said, quote, you know, a young man with his hands in the air running from the officer, running away, and received 6 shots in the back that killed him. That's what happened to Michael Brown? Well, according to this moron, Greg Popovich, I mean, a complete level 10 imbecile. Yeah, that's what happened. Michael Brown was running away from the officer and shot 6 times in the back. Does Popovich have an iPhone or an Android? Does he have a computer? Does he have a functioning brain, or is he like Joe Biden with the empty vessel? They're just pouring stuff in. Because that's a false narrative. Michael Brown, in fact, attacked the officer in his car, tried to take his weapon. There was a use of force incident in the car with the firearm. Brown then exited from the vehicle. Wilson, the officer, gets out of the vehicle, and Brown charged him again without his hands up, and then was shot again after trying to take the officer's gun and kill him. A simple, again, internet search of Michael Brown use of force incident. Here was one of the first articles that creeped up from a St. Louis radio website here. Not hard to find. St. Louis Public Radio, I'm sure not a bastion of conservative values here. Why did the Justice Department, remember, this is the Obama Justice Department they're talking about, important. Why did the Justice Department conclude that hands up, don't shoot was a myth? The answer is because it was a myth. Now, Greg Popovich, who's really very dumb, so you should consider San Antonio getting a new coach, because this guy's either brain dead or a manipulative liar. There is no third option here. You get that, right? There's A or B. There's no C. From the St. Louis radio piece, many of the witnesses denied incontrovertible evidence that Brown reached into the police car, struck Wilson in the face, that's the police officer, was wounded by a gunshot inside the car, fled 180 feet, suffered no wounds in the back, and then moved back at Wilson immediately before the fatal shots. In many instances, the discounted witnesses repeated what they had heard from neighbors or on the news. Some witnesses admitted they made up stories so they could be part of a big event in their community. In other words, Michael Brown did not have his hands up and was not saying, don't shoot. The witnesses who said that were discredited by the actual evidence. That's not what happened. The Obama Justice Department was forced to conclude that it was a legitimate, albeit tragic, use of force incident. Nobody wants anyone to die, but it was a legitimate use of force. Officer Wilson had to save his life. His life. I've seen this before. And when I say this, I'm talking about why all of these witnesses in this case, not all, but a lot of them came out, Joe, and said, no, Michael Brown had his hands up and was running away saying, don't shoot. None of that actually happened, folks. There's no forensic evidence to indicate that happened at all. There are no shots in Michael Brown's back. Why would witnesses say that? You know, I spent a lot of time doing law enforcement, you know that. I've seen this before. And I just give you a quick personal story to show you what happens. People, for some reason, I don't know, to fill a hole in their lives, they don't have a lot going on. They want to feel like they're part of something. I don't know if they saw it in a movie that they're supposed to like panic and they want to feel like they're part of something special. I'm not sure, but I saw it during 9/11 where I was an agent at the time. And I remember running down the hallway of our field office trying to get some equipment out of a car quickly. And people saying, there's a bomb at the White House. There's a bomb at the Capitol. There's a bomb at the Supreme. There's a plane flight. And I had to like get back in the office because it was, I'm not kidding. People were like running around with their hair on fire. And the stories were everywhere. No, the White House is under attack. I don't know where they were getting any of this from. Obviously, what happened was a terrorist attack of apocalyptic proportions. But the stories they were telling that day were not, in fact, accurate. My father called me weeks later, and I had an uncle, God rest his soul. He lived in Dothan, Alabama. Moved there from Brooklyn. He's called Brooklyn Frank. And he was in a Sam's Club or a Walmart. No, he was in a Walmart. And he's walking down the aisle as 9/11's happening, as the planes are crashing into the World Trade Center. And someone came over the loudspeaker. I think it was a Walmart, maybe a Sam's. I'm not sure. I should probably leave the name out. I'm not really sure which one. But someone came over the loudspeaker and said, there's an attack going on. And they bombed Sam's. And everybody was like running down the aisle in the Walmart or whatever, the store, the Sam's or the BJ's, whatever it was in Dothan, saying, they bombed Sam's in Dothan, Alabama. What the guy who had said that over the loudspeaker heard was they had bombed Afghanistan, not Sam's. This happens a lot with witnesses. The phone game, people think they hear things they didn't hear. They pass it on, and eventually you get a story like Michael Brown had his hands up and was screaming, don't shoot. And the cop murdered him, which led to riots that got people hurt and entire places in Ferguson destroyed. Instead of just getting to the facts. They didn't bomb Sam's in Dothan. And Michael Brown's hands were not up. And his back was not turned. But don't tell that to Kamala Harris, wondering how I was tying that in, right? Because Kamala Harris, 5 years after we found out Michael Brown's hands weren't up and that he was not, in fact, murdered by being shot in the back, Kamala Harris, here she goes again. Kamala Harris's Twitter feed. Michael Brown's murder forever changed Ferguson and America. His tragic death sparked a desperately needed conversation and a nationwide movement. We must fight for stronger accountability and racial equity in our justice system. Yeah, that's all fake. That's all fake. She just made that up. Michael Brown was not murdered. But Kamala Harris doesn't care. Kamala Harris is a rank opportunist of the highest order. Who knows? She's not stupid. She's a lawyer. She knows Michael Brown wasn't murdered. She knows the Obama Justice Department themselves concluded Michael Brown wasn't murdered. She knows those witness accounts are in fact false. And she said it anyway, because that's what Kamala Harris does. She is a big taxer, big government healthcare. She will cancel your healthcare plan if she gets her way. She says, oh, no, don't worry. We'll only do it over 10 years. Okay. Oh, thanks. She's to the left of Bernie Sanders, and she promotes conspiracy theories that are proven false, like Michael Brown was murdered.
You just heard Dan Bongino.